name is Danielle Smith. I wrote the short What Matters Most, which was just performed. Thank you to everybody who did that. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. I've lived there my whole life, but I have escaped a few times.
Chuck Mittan, I've got a script in the finals. It was one of the ones just performed. It was called Leaving Kansas. I live in Red Cloud, Nebraska, but I would be up for a move, too.
My name
Thinking that, like, maybe I'd find a dragon under my bed, and if I could just coax him out, just talk so sweetly, come on, little dragon, you'll be okay. So I think that's what's awesome about film, is that some of them can really hit you and take you into new worlds. And I also grew up on the stage a little bit, and I also have been writing since like I was 9. I have currently 20-some journals that catalog my life, because I write because I have a very poor memory, so I must write it so I will remember it later. And I studied journalism in college, and when I was studying abroad in Chile, I was supposed to sign up for classes the next day, and I could not figure out what to sign up for, and I didn't like it. And I saw film studies. You only needed 4 core classes at Lincoln. And so I changed my major while I was in Chile, and still made it out in 4 years thanks to some summer classes. And luckily, I found Lew Hunter, actually Chuck and Andy, and I can all vouch for Lew Hunter. He is an amazing man that is in Nebraska, but has been a writer-producer for CBS, ABC, NBC, Disney, and he taught at UCLA. So we are lucky to have him as a mentor, and he's really helped foster us and tell us that we could do it, give us that love and support that we need. We may not be the best when we start out, but he sees the potential and helps us get along there.
Well, just to add to what she said about Lew, he was chairman of the screenwriting department at UCLA for a lot of years, and he's just about fully retired. But I've been a newspaper editor for about 20 years, and really early in my career, Lew wrote his book, Screenwriting 434, it was just brand new, and my publisher at the time said, "You know that Lew Hunter guy at UCLA?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, he just wrote a book, and you know he grew up like 10 miles from here." And I said, "No, I didn't know that." So I called him at his house in Burbank, and I interviewed him, and I wrote an article about the book. And he sent me a copy of the book, and I read it, and I said, "Well, I'd like to write a script." And then he came back to visit, and he said, "Have you written a script yet?" And I said, "No." So I went to, after he retired, he started doing screenwriting colonies in Superior, Nebraska, and he does 2 a year, and they're 2-week intensive things. And he said he must come here and write a script. And so 7 years ago, I wrote my first script, and I just can't stop. I just love it.
I wrote my short as an excuse to come back to Snake Alley. It didn't take me very long to write it once I got the concept and the outline and feedback. So yeah, and luckily I didn't have to do any casting and have it read for me. Somebody else did that. Thanks, JoJo. What is in the future for me? I will go back to work for a week, and then I will go to Lew Hunter's Victorian mansion for 2 weeks for my 4th colony. So that will be very exciting, and I'm going to be doing a feature version of a pitch that I am sending to NBC Comedy Playground, which is a contest they've got right now for a sitcom that they may help you produce. So if I don't get, NBC on my side, at least I will be having a feature version of that.
Well, as I said before, my script came out of a desire to break away from comedy and horror for a while and do something more serious. And the themes in it are things that I was just thinking about at the time. And this sounds made up, but it's the actual truth. I got it all worked out on the car ride home from here last year. I do a lot of my best work behind looking out the windshield. And I started thinking about what to do when I left here, and I kind of got the idea formulated at about Atumwa. So Atumwa, by the way, is kind of a magical place. And between Atumwa and home, and from here to home is 8 hours, and between here, by the time I got home, I had it pretty well worked out in my head, and I just had to write it. And it took about 2 weeks to write the script. I have a short doc and a comedy short in pre-production that should shoot this summer sometime in Omaha. I've got a kind of a film noir crime drama web series that's in production. We've shot 3 out of 10 episodes of the first season, and I've got a horror feature in development with a small studio in the UK that's going to shoot in Scotland next summer, as far as I know.
When I was first starting out, I was working in a 16 millimeter film.
Work and other stuff like that for a while, but mostly I do a boring desk job of transcribing interactive voice recognition calls. So when you call in and be like, my Cox cable isn't working, god damn it, I get to record that, or I get to type it out. Luckily I don't have to respond to anybody, so I do that for English and Spanish, and I've been doing that job for 5.5 years, and this is the first time that I've been down to one job. Usually it's, that full-time job and then the other part-time jobs, and I'm using the time that I'm not doing part-time jobs to work on the creative aspect of my life.
Yeah, I've been a newspaper editor in some capacity for about 20 years, and right now I work for a